My name is Casey Burkholder, and Jennifer Thompson and I recently edited a book with Routledge called Fieldnotes in Qualitative Education and Social Science Research, Approaches, Practices, and Ethical Considerations. Today, Jen and I are going to talk with Jayne Malenfant, a Vanier and Pierre Elliott Trudeau scholar and doctoral candidate at McGill University, about her community-informed and self-reflexive chapter, Fieldnotes and Lived Experiences of Housing Precarity, Co-Creating Transparent Research Practices for Social Change. Jayne reflects on her approach to taking field notes to illustrate the tensions in how she navigates expertise and experience in academic spaces.
So Jayne, do you want to start us off by talking a little bit about how you take or how you make field notes?
Yeah, I would love to. I think as I discuss in the chapter that I wrote, I was trained in anthropology for the first few years of my research career and academic career. And I now work as one of 6 people in a participatory research team, 5 of us who all have experienced homelessness in some way. So the way I've taken field notes across that has shifted a bit, but I always took field notes in this kind of like semi-remembered phonetic alphabet to kind of hide and code my field notes. And I think in reflecting on why that is, I think part of that was because coming in as someone who had been kicked out of high school, who had experienced educational barriers when I experienced homelessness, I always assumed that I was missing something and was a researcher who wasn't doing things right. I wasn't a good student or researcher, so I would code them. But actually, in thinking of this chapter, I think part of it was also because I was an activist doing research in communities I was working in. So I think I was also scared of being a bad activist. So through coding my field notes, I always had the chance to sift through them first and treat them a bit more before anyone could see them. And that's a practice I've been trying to move away from.
Thanks. What does your chapter tell us about field notes?
Oh, I think my thinking of field notes has been looking at field notes as part of a broader research apparatus. Like that field notes are one part of how we do research. And I think I really tried to situate that practice within, for me coming from anthropology, the colonial legacy of anthropology, the way that field notes have been a tool to make sense of the other, and to really, I think, solidify some of that hierarchy of knowledge around who can speak about people and how people are, and research on people. So I think field notes has been one part of that. And now moving into doing research that has kind of a feminist Marxist lens, our project is in institutional ethnography. So for each of us in this research team of 6 people, field notes are our own, and they're positioned from our place of knowing. And we really encourage each researcher in the team to acknowledge where they're coming at things from, what their experiences are bringing, and write that into their field notes. So I think hopefully that is one thing, I guess, field notes as part of a broader research practice. Yeah.
And what do you think researchers need to know about field notes?
Oh man. So many things. I think I was reading through, and in my chapter at one point I asked if I can read a bit of it to remind myself. Through ethnographic writing, I perform the distance needed to make claims about the things I know and have experienced. At the same time, I wonder if this process abstracts or detaches what I know through my experiences in potentially detrimental and apolitical ways. And I don't know that there is apolitical ways to be positioning yourself to research, but I think, again, field notes has this really unique space where we can be reflecting on our own positions as researchers in political ways. I think I write quite a bit about vulnerability in research, and me now having to share these intimate field notes with a team of researchers who are learning how to do research as an educational tool. And I think it's not always easy to be vulnerable as a researcher who is maybe already feeling very vulnerable in academic spaces. But I think in general, field notes are a really unique space to teach and change the way that research is conceptualized as like this point of single authority.